The tsetse fly is a relatively large species of blood-sucking insect found on the African continent. This genus has been extensively studied by scientists because the tsetse fly is a vector for a dangerous disease. The economy of African countries is significantly affected by these insects, as they are biological carriers of sleeping sickness in humans and trypanosomiasis in animals. The word tsetse means fly in the Tswana language and in Bantu languages spoken in southern Africa. According to experts, tsetse flies represent a relatively ancient insect species, estimated to be about 30 million years old. This is supported by fossil remains of the fly found in the geological formations of the state of Colorado. Some of these fossils have also been found in Arabia. Today, tsetse flies are found exclusively across Africa, south of the Sahara Desert. There are 23 identified species and 8 subspecies of these insects, of which 6 are considered dangerous to humans because they transmit sleeping sickness as well as a couple of pathogenic parasites harmful to humans. Before the colonial period, these insects were absent in most of southeastern Africa. After a plague pandemic in these territories, which wiped out nearly all the cattle, and subsequently a famine that killed a large portion of the local population, the tsetse fly found an ideal habitat. The ideal territory for the tsetse fly is an area with dense thickets of thorny bushes. Such landscapes are typical of areas that formerly served as pastures for domestic animals. In addition, many other animals lived in these regions. In a short period, tsetse flies carrying sleeping sickness colonized this region. In this case, agricultural activities, including livestock farming, are entirely excluded in these areas. An interesting fact, agriculture is based on the profitability of raising domestic animals. Therefore, the tsetse fly is considered a primary cause of the high level of poverty among the peoples of the African continent. Tsetse flies have several distinctive features compared to other insect species. Their adult body consists of 3 parts: the head, thorax, and abdomen. The head bears relatively large eyes that are clearly separated from each other. A prominent proboscis is well distinguished, it points forward and is located on the lower part of the head. The thorax is relatively large and is formed by the fusion of 3 segments. Attached to this body part are 3 pairs of legs as well as 1 pair of wings. The abdomen is short but wide and can significantly change in volume when the fly is feeding. The overall length of a tsetse fly ranges from 8 to 14 millimeters. The internal body structure is almost indistinguishable from that of other insects. There are 4 visual characteristics by which a tsetse fly can be distinguished from other species of flies. Number 1. By its long proboscis, which is clearly visible. It points forward and originates from the lower part of the head. Number 2. By the way it folds its wings. When at rest, a tsetse fly folds its wings tightly one over the other, like the blades of scissors. Number 3. By the outline of the wings, since the middle part of the wing is shaped like an axe or resembles a meat tenderizer. Number 4. By the branched hairs that serve as antennae for the insect. The bristles have hairs at their tips that appear to be branched. Characteristic distinguishing features include the tightly folded wings and the presence of a long, sharp proboscis. The body coloration of the tsetse fly is rather dull, ranging from yellowish to dark brown hues. The thorax is gray with dark markings. The tsetse fly is distributed across relatively large areas of Africa located south of the Sahara Desert. Their preferred habitats include areas with dense vegetation along the banks of various water bodies in arid conditions, as well as regions within dense, humid tropical forests. The current landscapes of the African continent, as seen in wildlife documentaries, were largely shaped in the 19th century as a result of the activity of the tsetse fly and the plague. The plague virus was introduced to Africa by Italians in 1887, after which it began to have a significant impact on the continent's economy. After some time, this virus appeared in different regions as follows. In Ethiopia in 1888. On the Atlantic coast in 1892. And in South Africa in 1897. In East Africa, the Maasai people suffered greatly because the plague killed nearly 90% of their livestock. The herders were left without domestic animals, and farmers lost the possibility to cultivate their land as they lacked the draft power provided by livestock. This plague outbreak coincided with a dry period, leading to famine. Consequently, the population of the African continent also perished from cholera, smallpox, and typhus, diseases introduced by Europeans. Research established that 2/3 of the Maasai died in 1891. As a result, large areas of Africa were freed from both animals and people. Pastures declined, and dense thickets began to grow in their place. These thickets became an ideal environment for the tsetse fly. The population of wild animals grew continuously, which led to an increase in the number of tsetse flies. They even appeared in mountainous regions where this dangerous insect had not been observed before. Alongside the tsetse flies emerged sleeping sickness, previously unknown in these areas. By the early 20th century, this led to mass human fatalities. Important note: the tsetse fly continues to spread into agricultural areas, negatively impacting livestock farming. The fly adversely affects the economies of nearly 2/3 of African countries. These insects prefer to inhabit areas with dense shrubbery, but they can also appear in open spaces, attracted by warm-blooded animals. Both males and females feed on blood daily. Their daily activity depends on the surrounding environmental temperature. Some species are active in the morning hours, while others prefer to feed at midday. However, their activity decreases significantly after sunset. In forested areas, tsetse flies often attack humans. Female feeding is associated with blood meals from larger animals. Using their sharp proboscis, they pierce the skin of the animal and begin feeding. Important to know: the tsetse fly sits in the bushes and watches. When it detects a moving target that stirs up dust, it starts to chase the target. Dust can be raised either by a large animal or a vehicle in motion. In areas heavily populated by these insects, it is not advisable to ride in an open vehicle bed or open windows while moving. The tsetse fly can attack even-toed ungulates such as antelopes or buffaloes, as well as crocodiles, birds, monitor lizards, hares, and also humans. Its abdomen is relatively large, allowing it to drink a volume of blood approximately equal to its own body weight. The tsetse fly flies quite fast and almost silently, which is why it is called the silent killer. This fly serves as a reservoir for various microorganisms. The lifespan of adult males is 2 to 3 weeks, while adult females live 1 to 4 months. Interesting fact: tsetse flies have a rigid body structure. They are easy to kill with a fly swatter but are difficult to crush without applying effort. For centuries, the tsetse fly has plagued farmers from the Sahara to the Kalahari. Long ago, this insect prevented farmers from fully cultivating the land since they relied on animal power. This reduced crop yields and farmers' incomes. According to experts, the tsetse fly causes damage to the African continent amounting to $4.5 billion. The transmission of trypanosomiasis involves the interaction of 4 types of organisms: the host, the insect vector, the pathogenic parasite, and the reservoir. Glossina species, tsetse flies, are considered the most efficient vectors, as they are responsible for binding these microorganisms. Any reduction in their population should significantly decrease the transmission of the disease. A tsetse fly bite leads to the transfer of parasites that cause sleeping sickness in humans and trypanosomiasis in animals. The disease manifests as confusion, sensory disturbances, and poor coordination of movements. In addition, animals exhibit weakness, fever, and anemia. If untreated, the disease leads to death. The extent of the tsetse fly's distribution was first studied in the 1970s. Recently, maps have been created to predict areas where this dangerous insect may inhabit. During her lifetime, a female tsetse fly produces 8 to 10 larvae and mates only once. After mating, the female produces a single fertilized egg during a period of 7 to 9 days, which she retains in her uterus. The larva develops and grows inside her before being released into the natural environment. For the larva to develop properly inside the female, she must feed on blood 3 times. If she fails to feed during this period, she will undergo an abortion. The larva is born around the 9th day, after which it immediately buries itself in the soil and pupates. The newly born larva develops a hard outer shell called the puparium. The female continues to produce the next larva at intervals of about 9 days, repeating this process throughout her life, one larva after another. The larval stage lasts about 3 weeks. Approximately 1 month after pupation, an adult tsetse fly emerges. To mature fully, the adult fly needs a couple more weeks, after which it mates and, if female, produces her first larva. In other words, about 50 days pass from the emergence of a female to the production of her first larva. Important note: this is an unusual example of a life cycle featuring low reproductive capacity combined with significant parental investment. Adult flies are insects with a body length ranging from 0.5 to 1.5 centimeters. They have a distinctive shape, making them easy to distinguish from other flies. In their natural environment, tsetse flies have almost no predators. Some species of small birds prey on them, but not systematically. The main natural enemy is humans, who aim to completely eradicate these insects, and understandably so. These flies play an active role in transmitting African pathogenic trypanosomes, which cause dangerous diseases affecting both humans and domestic animals. Interestingly, tsetse flies are not infected with the parasite at birth. They become carriers only after feeding on the blood of an infected animal. For nearly a century, efforts have been ongoing to develop various methods to combat these dangerous insects. Many of these methods have emerged recently, following more detailed studies of tsetse fly behavior. Interesting fact: in areas where special traps are used, it is most effective to place them around villages and plantations. Here's the video. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.